قال موسى يا رب علمني شيئا أذكرك وأدعوك به. Musa is saying to Allah, oh Allah, teach me something. أذكرك, I can remember you with, وأدعوك به, and I make a dua to you through this dhikr. قال الله يا موسى لا إله إلا الله. Allah said to Musa, it's لا إله إلا الله. So Musa alayhi salam, Ya Rabb, he said, Ya Rabb, كل عبادك يقولون هذا. All your servants say لا إله إلا الله. Yani give me something new. قال Allah Azza wa Jal, he responds to Musa. Listen to this. He said to him, Ya Musa, لو أن السماوات السبع وعامرهن غيري والأراضين السبع في كفة ولا إله إلا الله في كفة لرجحت أو لمالت بهن لا إله إلا الله. He said to him, if the entire 7 heavens and the 7 earths, all of them were in one side of the scale, and La ilaha illallah was in the other side of the scale, La ilaha illallah would outweigh everything Allah created. But Anna, I want to say to you this. You see this hadith, what does it teach us? It teaches us that even sometimes prophets need to be reminded of how huge La ilaha illallah is. This is Musa alayhi salam being reminded of the virtue of La ilaha illallah. So this is why we're supposed to remind ourselves from time to time of how grand this word is and its effect in a person's life and what it does. And it's especially its effect in cleaning a person from his sins. When Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, and I conclude with this because this is its time, and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he says, anyone who says, لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير 100 times in the morning. Al-ulama rahimahumullah, they say this could be divided over the morning and the afternoon. 50 in the morning, 50 in the afternoon, doesn't matter what it is, but at least you say it 100 times in the day. Why I'm sharing this hadith with you because now, before you go, you say it 100 times. If you say it 100 times, properly, slowly, trying to understand and live its meanings, it'll take you 16 minutes. And I timed it. 16 minutes it'll take. 50 minutes, you don't want to rush. You don't want to rush. Remember, without this word, nothing would have existed. So there's no point in rushing. Then what's the reward for saying it 100 times? 5 rewards. Number 1, كان كعتق 10 رقاب من ولد إسماعيل. It's as though you have freed 10 slaves from the children of Ismail. إيش يعني من ولد إسماعيل? You know, slaves are many kinds. There are some cheap slaves and there's expensive slaves. The Arab slave is considered an expensive slave. Waladi Ismail, the children of Ismail, meaning Ismail is the branch for the Arabs, the children that came from his lineage that are slaves, freeing them costs much more than freeing someone else from another lineage. It's as though you have freed 10 of them. 10. Saying this dhikr 100 times, did it cost you anything? Did it take any effort from you? Did you have to raise and lift anything? Did you have to crawl to something? Did you have to walk to something? Nothing. Just the movement of the tongue. And it resulted in 10 slaves. طيب. And I ask you, what is the reward of freeing a slave in Islam? What's the reward? And I told you, you freed 10 slaves. And you said, MashaAllah, I freed 10 slaves. And do you know what the reward of freeing a slave is? Oh, that's where the beauty is. Okay, we understand 10 slaves have been freed. How does that benefit you? What's the reward of freeing one slave in Islam? Like Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he freed a slave. He's freed many. Sahaba freed many. This was a practiced good deed. Right? The one who killed someone by accident, he needs to free a slave, if there is. The one who had intercourse with his wife during the day of Ramadan, big haram. The first thing he's supposed to do as an expiation is to free a slave. Then if he can't fast 2 months, then if he can't, he feeds 60 poor people. Freeing a slave. What's its reward? Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says, the one who frees a slave, for every limb of the slave he freed, it's his freedom from the hellfire. كان بكل عضو يعتقه عتقه من النار. So if you freed one slave, the reward is that you're freed from Jahannam. That's the reward. هذا one slave is enough for you to free. This dhikr is giving you 10. And from the best of slaves. يعني how can a morning go by and you don't say لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير 10 times. And you sit and you feel its meaning in your heart. How? How can a morning go by and you don't say it? And wallahi, if you are going to free 10 slaves from your money, how much is it going to cost? How much is, if they're slaves, how much is one slave going to cost you? 5,000, 10,000. This was up until recently, the last slaves were in Mauritania. That's how much a slave was. It was very expensive. You'll have someone that is going to serve you for life. So you got to pay money. Nothing is required from you. Not a single dollar. Save 10 slaves being freed. That's one. And that's your freedom from Jahannam. Already it's good. Number 2, 100 hasanat given. 100 hasanat. Wal hasana in Ramadan is huge. Try to say this dhikr as much as you can in the mornings of Ramadan. Well, good, we're sharing this lesson now. We're just about to enter the 10 nights and the 10 days of, the last 10 nights of Ramadan. Increase in this dhikr. 100 hasanat. Wal hasana in Ramadan is precious. Number 3, it wipes away 100 sayyi'at. See how its effect in removing sayyi'at. 100 sayyi'at wiped away. Who commits 100 sins a day? Who? Worst case, even if you commit 100 sins, there's your solution here in the morning. Don't run away from this dhikr. Understand its value. If you've committed 100 sins, here's your solution next morning. That's 3. Number 4, it raises a person 100 levels in the paradise. And then the last one, and no one of mankind would come on the day of judgment better than him except someone who said it more than him. Anta top of creation. Number 1 on the list, except someone that said it more. Either he deserves to be on top of you. But if you've said it more, then you maintain the record of being first. So don't waste the opportunity. لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us a true and a genuine appreciation of kalimatul Tawheed. And we ask Him subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us live by this word and to adhere by this word and to die upon this word and to be resurrected upon this word. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive our sins. And we ask Him subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us a blessed life until we meet Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. إنه ولي ذلك القادر عليه وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.